Welcome back to the Ripewave audio community, where we explore all types of home audio systems from hi-fi to home theater. My name is John, and for this video, you've returned for part 2 of our outdoor movie $280 package with the Apeman LC650 projector and the Amazon-sourced 120-inch projector screen for giving you portable outdoor movie experience. We had this set up, as you remember from part 1, for my daughter's birthday party, but we're going to get a lot of use of this. We're going to have some outdoor football parties, etc. So as we get into part 2 here, and we're going to put the links in here for part 1 so you can easily access that if you missed it. But we're going to get deeper into the Apeman projector, plug it in, see how it goes, hooked up a Amazon Fire Stick and our Blu-ray player, and give you some look at the settings and how it functions. So let's get into it. We're going to show you a temporary indoor setup. Of course, this whole the screen and the projector is all intended just for outdoor use. If we were doing an indoor setup, I probably would go for certainly a different screen that had a more permanent frame, higher quality. Same with the projector. But for outdoor use, this is a nice, affordable solution that we're going with. But it's going to be fun to try it indoors. And gosh, that 120-inch screen just fills that whole end of the room. I don't think I could go much larger. So it's a good test out of seeing if a 120-inch screen actually fits in the room in a good way. And I think it does. I think 150, we may not make it. I'd have to take some measurements before trying that one. But this is looking pretty good. So looking at the Apeman projector here, and what we've done is we've set this up on a little stand so we could reduce the amount of keystoning that could happen. We may have to tilt this a little bit, but wrong remote. When we do, there is a keystone adjust on the remote, which is a great thing. The projector itself has infrared on both the back and the front, so if you're behind or in front of that, you know you're going to be able to use the remote, which is a good feature. Now I'm going to turn this on. When you hit there's only one button on this, it's at the top. When you hit the button, it turns blue. The one important thing is take the lens cap off before you start. Now, see how that slid here? One thing to point out, this does not come with any rubber feet on the bottom. So you're going to want to maybe put your own on, or make sure the surface that you're putting on has some sort of resistance because it's just plastic feet. Now we can see here right away that it's a little low. There's a button on the front. If you push it in, that raises the front foot. And I'll get this close but not exact. And I can see here, I'm going to push this in a little bit. It's probably a bit of keystoning going on here. And we can fix that as we go into it. So no signal right now. I haven't plugged in the Blu-ray player, this is the Sony UBP X1100ES, which is my best Blu-ray player in the house. So we can plug that in a minute. So let's go into the setup screen. So if we hit setup here, so the first thing you'll see is picture. So picture mode we can set to user. There's also vivid, standard, soft, etc. And this is all going to adjust those presets, whether you do it's got to be the contrast, the brightness, the color, and the sharpness, are going to all be there. One thing about these menus, don't hit the back button, hit the menu page again. That's going to take you back, not the back button. So I'm going to leave that on user right now. Color temperature, this can be medium, warm, user. So that's adjusting the red, green, and blue settings as a cool preset, etc. So we're going to leave this on warm for now. I can fool around this later. Hit the menu button, takes me back. Aspect ratio, we can adjust this to 4:3. It's set to auto right now. It's where I want to leave it. The menu button again. You can reduce the display size, so if this is looking too big, without moving the projector. Is this doing it in the real time? Maybe. So this can go down to 75%. If you needed to adjust it more than 75%, you'll just have to move the projector to screen distance. I'm going to leave it at 100% right now. Auto source. I had set that to off because I was having some difficulty earlier. So let's leave it on. Let's see what happens. It gives you the current LED temperature. This is on this. The sound mode. Now this has built-in speakers. Now the built-in speakers are great if you're just using this for, a quick. If you're going camping and you just want to project this on the side of your RV or whatever you want to do, the sound is going to be great to have on there. If you're really doing a movie showing in the backyard, I would recommend bringing in some portable speakers. The bigger the better. The sound really does make the difference. Last night we did our setup with a Rotel receiver and some monitor audio, play with bookshelf speakers, and that worked out pretty well for the situation. But the sound modes, there's some presets in here for sports, user settings. This is essentially adjusting the treble and the bass of the built-in speakers. And this is only going to get you so far. I certainly recommend those using external, but there's a standard setting, a music setting, and then the sports setting. So we'll leave it on movie. Surround sound I have off. Let's just put it on to SRS, True Sound. See what that does. Go back to the menu. So we were looking at that. And then there's a time function, so you can actually have this go off on a timer, have a sleep timer, etc. Not sure you would, but this might be good for those for if you have kids and they forget to turn off the projector, you're not eating up the bulb hours. So that's the settings there. Let's plug in a signal here and see how this does. So I'm going to plug in from HDMI out 1 of the UHD player into HDMI of the Apeman. And let's see how we do, Don. Do I have to adjust the source maybe? Oh, it's set to AV. So let's turn this to, I hit the source button on the remote because there's no button on the unit. Set the source button and set it to HDMI. And now we're getting it. And now you can hear those internal speakers. They've got a little tin canny sound to them. But again, it gets the job done for if you don't want to carry around speakers with you if you're traveling. So we can mute that for right now. This was the movie the kids were watching last night. Now this one I had a problem with. And I'll show you what happened. I didn't realize. Let's just go back here and restart the movie. And I thought there was a problem playing this back. So if I go, it was looking good that we were going to be able to see this movie because the menus, the initial screen is coming up here with the stars. So the normal opening credits for Paramount was showing. It says, okay, that's good. And then I was presented with this menu screen. And I'm sitting here with the Apeman remote trying to hit OK. I want English, right? I thought this was a projector thing. And I should have realized that it's coming on after the credits. I was using the wrong remote. I just needed to hit OK on the Sony remote. I just wasn't used to having these multi-language discs. That's the only disc I have that does that. But once I was able to hit the right remote and OK past that with the right language selection, the movie's working. So, lesson learned. Sometimes those language settings are not the projector, it's the from the movie itself. So this is pretty good here. Now, if I want to adjust the focus, I've got to manually change this by turning it. Now, the one thing I did note here, because I couldn't figure out the menu system the other night, I went over to an Amazon Fire Stick, and that just worked fine. But there's only one HDMI input. You're ended up swapping cables around. Some of these units that you can get, I don't think Apeman makes one, have dual HDMI in. That's probably a nice feature to have. Only one HDMI in. Not the end of the world for me. I can just switch cables for a non-permanent installation. So that's not too bad. So you heard the internal speakers. So if I want to set this up to go through other speakers, in this case I've got my home theater set up. Now normally what we would use is just the HDMI to a home theater, but I want to show you that if I plug in here and turn our theater on. So we want to plug in, it's really hard to see, there's just an indented in the plastic, but it's labeled AV. No, it's labeled aux. AV is designed to use with this cable that's supplied with the unit, and that's enough of the music. It gives you the RCA split left, right, and video, and that would go in here if you wanted to, if you had a source that used that. So they do have some legacy support on the unit directly, which is nice. So this is using RCA out, so it's an analog out to the system here. Obviously, we're going to get a much better audio signal if we use the HDMI. I just don't have a long enough cable right now to make it work. So this is the Apeman LC650. I'm pretty happy with it. I think that the quality of the picture is really good. For the money, you're getting a native 1080p resolution, so you get an HD resolution for $180. And currently on Amazon with the coupon clipped, and good contrast ratio, good lumens, and hey, it's not the best, but for the money, it's really great. It's portable, it does the job, and for between the screen at $125, $120 this, so you're at $300 for the setup. That's pretty good. So if you also have a low-cost option for an outdoor movie setup, I'd like to hear from you. Please comment in the comments section. But until then, keep enjoying. Until then, keep evolving your audio experience. Okay, a quick addition here to the. Sorry, apologize for the poor lighting. A quick addition to this. I was worried about the screen blowing over. So what I did was I used these old donut weights for my tractor. These things are like 50 years old. So what's great is that it goes right in the center here, and I'll zoom in here in a second to show you. Here, this will give you a better sense of what this is. But yeah, these donut, these at least 25 pounds, and that's keeping it from blowing over pretty well. So I recommend, if you don't use this, either some stakes or some others like sandbags or something to make sure that your outdoor projector screen doesn't fall over.